Lester William Polsfuss, known more commonly by his stage name Les Paul, was born on June 9, 1915, in Waukesha, Wisconsin. At 8 years of age, he began playing the harmonica and then shortly after the piano. Once he became proficient on piano, he decided to pursue both the banjo and guitar. His first guitar was a Sears Roebuck Troubadour that cost less than $5. He also had a passion for experimenting with instruments and sound, and during his early teens, invented a harmonica holder that was worn around a player's neck, giving him the ability to play the harmonica while playing guitar. At the age of 13, he performed as a country singer, a guitarist, and a harmonica player at local drive-ins and roadhouses around Waukesha. Played the acoustic guitar and wanted more people to be able to hear him, so he wired up a needle from a phonograph to his guitar and connected it to a radio speaker. He also experimented with sustain using a 2-foot piece of train rail from a nearby train line, connected a telephone microphone to it to function as a pickup in an attempt to amplify it. Later, he dropped out of high school at the age of 17, and he went forward with the Sonny Joe Wolverton Band, based out of St. Louis, Missouri. Later, he moved with Sonny Joe Wolverton to Chicago in 1934. He continued to play country music, but soon began learning jazz from a variety of performers in Chicago's South Side. He was performing country music during the day, playing jazz at night. He released 2 albums in 1936 in the style of country under the name Rhubarb Red, but not long after adopted the timeless name Les Paul. His style of guitar playing was greatly influenced by jazz guitarist Django Reinhardt. In 1937, he formed a jazz trio with Jim Atkins, half-brother of guitarist Chet Atkins, and percussionist Ernie Newton. In 1938, they moved to New York City and landed a spot on the Fred Waring radio broadcasts. Les Paul was later drafted into the U.S. Army in 1943 and served in the Armed Forces Radio Network, where he would back artists such as Bing Crosby and the Andrews Sisters. In 1944, Bing Crosby sponsored Les Paul's recordings, and together they recorded the #1 hit, It's Been a Long, Long Time. Les Paul earned the reputation for creating an additional voice that never interfered with what the other performers did in the recordings. In 1945, he met country western singer Iris Colleen Summers. They began working together on a radio show, and he suggested the name Mary Ford as a stage name for her. They recorded the hits How High the Moon, Bye Bye Blues, Song in Blue, Don't You Hear Them Bells, and The World is Waiting for the Sunrise. The songs are recorded with multiple tracks where Ford harmonized with herself, and Les Paul played multiple layers of guitars. They married in the year 1949. In the 1940s, Les Paul continued with his earlier experiment that consisted of a train rail and created a prototype instrument, a solid body electric guitar he referred to as the log. It consisted of a stud post, which was a piece of Douglas fir wood, 4 inches wide by 4 feet in length. It was equipped with a crude bridge, electromagnetic pickup, neck, and strings. He attached the body of an Epiphone hollow body guitar with a log nested in the middle. In 1941, he approached the Gibson Guitar Corporation with his concept of a solid body electric guitar, but they declined until Fender created the Esquire and Broadcaster guitars in 1950. Ted McCarty was the chief designer, and the guitar was listed as the Gibson Les Paul and was released in 1952. Les Paul also pioneered from his experiments with microphone placement, track speed, and advancements in multi-track recording. Bing Crosby commissioned the Ampex Corporation to produce the first tape recorders manufactured in the United States, and gave the first recorder ever released to Les Paul, who later added additional recording heads to it and invented the sound-on-sound tape machine. Later, Les would work with Ampex on the design of the 8-track recorder. He also invented the flange effect, where 2 recordings of the same sound played slightly asynchronous with each other, causing a phase cancellation sweeping effect. His song, Mammy's Boogie, was the first recording to ever use a flange effect. In 1951, Les Paul was voted the #1 guitarist in country music by Downbeat magazine. In 1965, Les Paul went into semi-retirement and performed studio recordings on occasion. His marriage to Mary Ford ended in 1964. He came out of retirement to record the album Chester and Lester and Guitar Monsters with Chet Atkins that was released in 1978. In 1995, Les Paul created the Les Paul Foundation that was intended to support innovative and creative thinking through music education, recording, and medical research related to hearing once he passed. In 2006, at the age of 90, Les Paul won 2 Grammy Awards for the album Les Paul and Friends, American Made World Played. In August of 2009, he died from pneumonia in White Plains, New York, and was buried on August 21, 2009, in Prairie Home Cemetery, located in his hometown of Waukesha, Wisconsin.